Hello, everyone. My name is Casey Osborne, and I will be talking to you about the different types of prompts there are in the ABA field, why they're important, and some examples of them. As I go through them, I'm going to share my screen with this visual of prompts, and we're going to go over each one. But first, I would like to talk about an article from Netzel and Woolley M 2009 called Steps to Implementation for Least to Most Prompts. As you can see here, you can go least to most or most to least also, but we prefer to start with most to least when teaching a new skill. So the first step to prompting that they identify is identifying the target behavior or skill. Step two is identifying the target stimulus. Step three is selecting cues or task directions. Step four is selecting reinforcers. Step five is identifying activities and times for teaching. Step six is selecting the number and levels of in the hierarchy. So the hierarchy is these boxes right here. So from full to visual is a hierarchy of prompting. Step seven is selecting the types of prompts to be used. Step eight is sequencing prompts from least to most. And step nine is determining the length of the response interval. So all these types, according to Netzel and Worley, all these steps, according to Netzel and Woolley 2009, are important while you are implementing the prompts. What prompts are basically just a little stepping stool in teaching a new skill or target. So to help the learner um, complete a task of what you want them to do or to complete the proper behavior. I'm going to start with the most to least invasive prompt, which the most would be full physical. So that's if I want someone to match something and I have two things, I would guide them full physically with my hand to match the pens. So picture these as index cards or pictures or even objects. I would hand over hand guide the client to match, and I would say pen, they match. That's full physical prompting. Partial physical prompting would be as if I just maybe pointed or um, guided them slightly with my hand, not fully hand over hand. That's partially physical prompting. So full physical, I would guide them like this. Maybe partial, I would take their elbow and guide them, not their full hand. That would be only partial physical. Modeling is me simply doing it myself. Picture these as index cards. Once again, I'd be like, match, these are pens, and then I would have the client model me. That would be model prompting. So I would be like, match, and I would want them to reenact or copy exactly what I'm doing. Gestural, I have a definition up here. I'm going to pull up because I think it's important to read it because it can get a little confusing. So gestural, I have as the ABA practitioner, that would be me, points to the spoon or makes a gesture that resembles picking up a spoon. So I'm going to use the examples of my pens again. So I would pick them up, and then if I was like match, they would see me gesturally prompting them to match, and then they would do it themselves. Um, Again, I'll read you the definition. The ABA practitioner points to the spoon or makes a gesture that resembles picking up the spoon. But just picture that in the pen situation. I make a gesture that I'm going to match these pens. The next is verbal. So that is literally just me saying, match the pens or pick up the pens, whatever, again, whatever target behavior you want them to do, you're verbally saying it. Physical, you're physically doing it. Verbal, you're verbally saying it. Visuals, that just includes, say, for example, a peck, which is just a little picture with the direction on it. So I would hand them the picture, and the picture would be an action of someone matching something, and I would hand them the visual. I wouldn't physically do anything, I wouldn't verbally say anything. I would just hand them the picture, the visual of someone completing a matching activity, and then they would respond themselves. I also have a definition. That was an example. I have an actual definition. Visual prompt right here. It says a visual prompt is a picture or cue that the student sees which provides information about the correct answer. So again, if I just hand them a PEC, which is a visual picture of someone completing a matching activity, then they would respond. Typically, we do go from most to least because it helps develop new skills quickly. And in these prompts, you want to also remember that you should be providing reinforcement as well. These are important because there's no really, there is other ways, but I think this is important because showing or physically helping someone that is having a hard time developing a skill, all these prompts, if you follow this hierarchy, will make them learn a lot faster, with a bunch of other ABA things as well, such as reinforcement. But for prompts itself, I think it's really helpful. It's like a little stepping stool for them to be successful. And I think it's very important if you are going all in on a new task that you should go from most to least. Sometimes people, as like a baseline, which is just like your first time seeing what type of skills they have, you can go from most to least and see kind of where they stop and what they need. So if I provided a visual to somebody and they didn't respond, if I responded a verbal, they didn't respond, but I provided gestural and they respond, then I could start my least, quote unquote, at gestural and move my way up to visual for somebody. Each client is going to be all different. So it really depends on what the skill is, what the client skills are, but it's extremely important for teaching new skill to know prompts, the prompt hierarchy in the field of ABA. Thank you.